She called the cops and screamed, "Arrest him." But I was standing right there on my own land, holding the broken pieces of my mailbox. For the third time this month, the HOA's so-called patrol cops had run their golf cart straight into it, laughing as if they owned the road. I didn't even have an HOA, I owned every inch of this ranch free and clear. But that didn't stop them from sliding fake notices under my door, threatening to fine me, and acting like I was trespassing on my own soil. Karen, their leader, strutted down the dirt path in her spotless white suit, waving papers in my face. "This ranch mailbox is not in compliance," she sneered. "Either you remove it, or we'll remove you." I stayed calm. That's what got under her skin the most. "You broke it 3 times, I said, showing her the dented metal pole. "So now I'll build one you'll never knock down." She smirked like she'd already won. "Do it, and you'll regret it. We have authority here." I didn't answer, because inside me I was already planning something she couldn't imagine. I wasn't just a rancher. I had spent 10 years building armored structures overseas, designing barriers that could stop a military truck. And this mailbox, this one wasn't going to fall. When I pulled out my welding torch that night, sparks lit up the dark. My neighbors peeked through their blinds. Rumors spread. By morning, something new stood at the edge of my property, a mailbox that looked ordinary on the outside. But inside, it was built like a fortress. Karen laughed when she saw it. "Cute," she said. But when her so-called cops tried running over it again, everything changed in a single, deafening crash. The cart flipped. 2 men tumbled onto the dirt, groaning. And for the first time, Karen's smirk disappeared. She didn't know yet, this was only the beginning. Karen's scream cut through the air. "He tried to kill them. Call the real police." She pointed at me like she'd just caught a criminal in the act, even though her fake cops were the ones who had tried to smash my property. One of the men sat up, clutching his shoulder. "It's broken," he yelled. The other stayed on the ground, dazed. Neighbors started gathering at the fence lines, phones out, recording everything. The ranch wasn't quiet anymore, it was a stage. I wiped the dust from my hands and spoke loud enough for everyone to hear. "You ran over my mailbox. Again. That's on camera. All of it." I pointed to the blinking red light of the trail cam mounted on my gate. Karen froze for just a second, then snapped back. "That's illegal surveillance. You can't record us." Someone in the crowd laughed. "Lady, you're on his land. He can record whatever he wants." Her face turned red, but she doubled down, dialing her phone with trembling fingers. "Sheriff's office. Yes, I need units here now. A violent man attacked my officers." She emphasized the word officers like it gave her power. I almost smiled, because the number she was calling, I already knew who would pick up. My brother. Sheriff of this whole county. When the cruisers rolled in 10 minutes later, lights flashing, Karen puffed her chest and marched up to them. "Finally. Arrest him. He built a dangerous weapon. He ambushed us." The deputy looked at her, then at me, then back at her. "Ma'am, those aren't officers. Those are HOA volunteers. And you just admitted you've been trespassing." The crowd gasped. Phones lifted higher. Karen's eyes darted left and right, panic starting to show. I stepped closer, my voice calm but sharp. "Enough for everyone to hear," you said. "I'd regret building that mailbox. Maybe it's the other way around." And that was when one of the injured men, still on the ground, blurted out the truth that changed everything. Karen told us he doesn't even own this land. Said it was still under HOA control. The deputy's jaw tightened. Funny thing is, this ranch deed sits right in our records. And it's in his name only. The crowd erupted, half in shock, half in laughter. Karen's power was cracking, and she knew it. But she had one more trick up her sleeve. Karen's voice turned sharp, almost desperate. "You don't understand. He forged those papers. This land belongs to the HOA, not to him. She waved the crumpled notices she'd been slipping on my door. Like they were proof of something real. The deputy raised an eyebrow. Forged. Ma'am, these look like they were printed off a home computer. He held one up. The HOA logo was blurry, the ink smeared like a cheap flyer. The neighbors chuckled, whispering to each other. But Karen wasn't backing down. She snapped her fingers at one of her men. Show them the file. He stammered, then pulled out a folder stuffed with papers. Maps, fake signatures. Even a mock-up letter claiming the ranch had fallen under HOA expansion. The deputy flipped through it, his patience thinning. This is nonsense. Karen grinned too wide. Like she knew something the rest of us didn't. You think so? Then maybe you should ask the county judge who signed off on it. The crowd hushed. A judge. That word hit hard. For a second, even I felt my stomach twist. Was she bluffing? She pulled out her phone, put it on speaker, and dialed. A gravelly voice answered, Judge Hanson. Judge, she said sweetly. I'm standing here with trespassers on HOA property. Your order still stands, correct? The crowd gasped. The deputy's face stiffened. And I felt heat rise in my chest. Because I knew Judge Hanson. I knew what Karen didn't. I stepped forward. Judge Hanson. This is Marcus Green. You remember me, don't you? From Afghanistan. There was silence on the line. Then the judge's voice dropped, uneasy. Marcus. Every head turned toward me. Karen's smile faltered, confusion cutting through her confidence. I kept my eyes locked on her. Tell them the truth, Judge. Tell them whose land this is. The line crackled. The judge cleared his throat. This ranch was never HOA property. Marcus owns it. Every acre. Karen's phone slipped from her hand, hitting the dirt. The crowd erupted, some laughing, some shouting, all with their cameras rolling. The deputy's radio crackled just then. Copy that, we have confirmation on file. Deed secured, notarized, signed years ago. Karen's men looked like they wanted to vanish. Her face went pale, but she still hissed at me, you think this is over? You don't know who you're messing with. And then, from behind the flashing cruisers, another black SUV pulled up. The windows rolled down. It wasn't more cops. It was someone far more dangerous. The SUV door opened slow, deliberate, like a scene out of a crime show. A man in a dark suit stepped out, sunglasses on even though the sun was setting. He didn't look like a neighbor. Didn't look like HOA either. He looked official. Too official. Karen's whole body language changed. Her shoulders straightened, her smirk returned. Finally, she muttered under her breath, they sent him. The men walked straight past the deputies, as if their flashing lights meant nothing. He stopped in front of me, hands folded behind his back. Mr. Green, he said flatly, you've caused quite a stir. The deputy cut in. And you are. The man slowly pulled a badge from his jacket. Federal Property Enforcement. The crowd gasped. Karen beamed. See. I told you. Higher authority. He turned to her, his voice cold. You'll stay quiet until spoken to. The smile slid off her face like melting wax. He faced me again. There's been confusion. Certain land transfers weren't properly processed. This ranch may, in fact, still be subject to federal oversight. I didn't move, didn't blink. Because I had been waiting for this exact moment. Funny, I said calmly, because I kept the original federal transfer papers. Signed overseas. When I came back from service, they tried to lose them. I made copies. Certified. The man's jaw tightened. For the first time, he looked uncomfortable. Karen's eyes darted back and forth. Realizing she had just tied herself to something much bigger than she thought. The crowd was restless now, neighbors whispering, cameras zooming in. The deputies looked unsure, caught between local and federal. I leaned closer to the suited man. You came all this way for a mailbox. He didn't answer. I pointed at Karen. Or did she call you because her little HOA fantasy isn't enough anymore? That hit. He glanced at her, and she shrank back. Then I said the one line that turned the whole crowd into a roar. This isn't about a mailbox. This is about them trying to steal land from a veteran. People shouted. Phones lifted higher. Karen's face drained of color. The deputies straightened, siding closer to me. But before order could return, another sound cut through the chaos, sharp, metallic, echoing. The sound of my brand new mailbox creaking open on its own. Everyone turned. Something was hidden inside. The creak of the mailbox made every head turn. The deputy walked over, tugged it fully open. Inside, tucked in a sealed waterproof case, was exactly what I had been waiting for the right moment to reveal. Original federal land transfer documents. Signed, stamped, and notarized years ago. Not a copy. The real thing. Gasps rippled through the crowd. The suited, federal agent froze. The deputy held the papers high. This is official. It doesn't get clearer than this. Karen lunged forward, shrieking, "Those are fake. They have to be fake." But the agent's cold stare cut her off. His calm mask was gone, now he looked cornered, exposed. One of the deputies spoke into his radio. "Dispatch, we've got attempted fraud, impersonation, and possible collusion." Another officer moved to cuff Karen's men where they sat, groaning on the ground. Karen's voice cracked as she backed away. No, you don't understand. I was told this land, he was never supposed to." I finally stepped in. My voice steady but sharp enough to slice through her excuses. "You wanted me gone. You lied. You sent fake cops, fake notices, fake authority. But the truth always comes out." The suited man didn't even try to help her. He turned, slipped back into his SUV, and drove off in silence, leaving Karen standing alone in front of the flashing lights and a dozen recording neighbors. The deputies grabbed her wrists, clicking the cuffs shut. She screamed, twisting, "This isn't fair. This is my neighborhood." I looked her dead in the eye. "No. This is my land. My home. And you'll never run it again." The crowd erupted in cheers. Some clapped, some shouted my name. A few even saluted when the deputy announced loud enough for everyone to hear. "On record, this property belongs to decorated veteran Marcus Green. Case closed." Karen was shoved into the cruiser, her screams muffled by the door slamming shut. I turned back to my neighbors, to my ranch, to the dented but undefeated mailbox standing tall at the end of my dirt road. And I said one line that made the crowd go silent, then cheer again louder than before. I didn't fight for this country to be told. I can't park in my own driveway. Or protect my own mailbox. The night air was calm again. My land was safe. My family was safe. And for the first time in years, the HOA bully was gone, for good.